Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video I'll be offering some possible interpretations of what Mary Shelley intended for us as readers when she wrote Frankenstein, and also offering what the Georgian readers of the time might have considered. This is key to getting your 7, 8 or 9 in the literature papers because you need to refer to the writer's intentions and always bring in the first reader's reactions, as well as your own, of course. Shelley is firstly conveying her stark warning about the dangers of playing God and saying that science and shameless blind ambition are dangerous, as we learn from Victor and Captain Walton. Man cannot override the rules of nature. Perhaps this is her emphasising the power of her romantic ideals. The love of nature, the experience of emotions of life in its rawest form, echo the discovery and learning that the monster goes through, and actually the pain and suffering of being rejected. Perhaps Shelley is sharing the perils of greed and adventure when you don't evaluate the variables that affect everyone else other than your own desires. For both Victor and for Walton, that shameless, selfish desire is what propels their adventures or their desire for what they're seeking in discovery. And it has big consequences for other characters that they don't think about. Oh, and themselves. Shelley's perhaps saying that we should acknowledge the dangers of revolution and change and keep to a more simple life. At the time, of course, across Europe there was revolution and change. So maybe this is a more political underlying notion of how we should be more stable and secure in our foundations as a pure humanity. Perhaps she's stating the damage of prejudice and just how wrong it really is and inhumane, as we learn through the discovery of the monster's journey of rejection. There is definitely a sense that Shelley is pushing upon us as readers that we should realise we have an obligation to change these issues that are core to the novel, whether that's being prejudiced, whether that's being greedy, whether it's being blindly ambitious, or putting the power of science and technology above all else. So now let's consider some of what Georgian readers at the time, when this novel was first made, could have thought upon reading it. Well, they may have pondered why mankind are so flawed, and they might even reevaluate their notions of male supremacy or endorsing the idea that men are right in the ideas of patriarchy as an idea. They could have reflected on the ethical implications of the work that they do, trying to think more strategically about how it could be fair and right for all of humanity. They might actually reflect and acknowledge that work ethic is never more important than family values and integrity. That is ultimately one of the foundations to Victor's downfall. They might be more aware of the damage that science and philosophy can do if they're treated as idols or in place of God. They might reflect on the way that relationships are forged and accept that prejudice should be more consciously combated by them as individuals, so that whether it is symbolically the monster that we learn about, that they don't treat the outsider in their world like that too. And finally, maybe it's actually a reflection point for a reader of the time to take social responsibility to protect the vulnerable around them, and to stand up for the truth and value integrity in others. Now, upon reflecting on both Shelley's intentions and a Georgian reader's possible reaction, it's worth considering where you are situated. Which of these ideas translates still for you as a 21st century reader of this core text? And how does this Gothic piece of fiction translate into your real life? That is the key to getting yourself an 8 or a 9 in this paper. Just reflecting on the broader significance of these ideas is a great way of signalling you really are judicious in your perception of the key elements of this novel. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?